Well, I will say the team was a little worried this morning that with a pandemic and an ice storm that you guys may not show up. But I said, listen, these are the warriors for life. They will be here. So thank you so much. Amen. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. As you can see, we've just got the all-stars. I get to be the lucky one to moderate, but really the Vice President is hosting this event. He is obviously the champion for this issue for basically his entire life, but really, truly, it's been a team effort, and what an honor it is to have so many of you, all of our friends from the pro-life movement. Every single one of you was invited to be here because of your leadership in defending the most vulnerable in our society, and that is the unborn. And because of your strong partnership with us in proclaiming the dignity of human life. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your relentlessness. Thank you for your tireless effort. I know so many of you have spent a lifetime focusing on this issue. And what a blessing these last 4 years have been as we moved that issue forward to protect life. Today, we are here to celebrate. We want to lift up the dignity of life and raise a toast of sorts to what has been accomplished together over the past 4 years. President Trump and Vice President Pence have been champions of the pro-life movement and will go down in history as the most pro-life administration in all of American history. They made promises like many elected officials do, but unlike most, they delivered on those promises and then did more. On the president's third day in office, he reinstated the Mexico City policy and later expanded it, setting an example for the world that it is possible to maintain a strong commitment to funding women's health programming without compromising pro-life principles. He took action last year to curtail federally funded research using human fetal tissue from elective abortions after over 25 years of taxpayer money thrown away on empty promises that this morally bankrupt research would result in cures that never materialized. He has protected Americans' conscious rights like never before and has nominated over 260 constitutionalist judges confirmed by the Senate. By the way, Senator Langford, Senator Daines, thank you for being here with us today. And including 3 Supreme Court judges. Today, we will hear much more about the administration's historic pro-life accomplishments. But again, we could not have done it without you and without your help. Your suggestions, your supports, perhaps most importantly, your prayers and your partnership. We're proud of what we have accomplished together, but this fight is not over, and we will never give up. I look forward to continuing to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you and stand for life. Our first speaker today and your host for this event obviously needs no introduction, and I know many of you have worked many years alongside this man as he fought for freedom and for life and for all that is good and righteous with the American dream. Our incredible Vice President, Mike Pence. Please help me welcome to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Today is really about celebrating progress we've made in the cause for life, and also thanking the leaders that are gathered in this room and all of you that will be looking on live stream around the country for the way that you've stood. You've stood for life for the last 4 years, and I promise you, we will never stop fighting for the right to life. And on behalf of the President of the United States and the First Family, welcome to the White House. It's good to have you here on a blustery day, and good to be here with so many very special people. But as I begin, allow me to bring greetings, as you all have been very kind to me today. Let me bring greetings from a man who, from early on in this administration, and as a candidate, made it clear that he would stand up for the sanctity of human life. And allow me to give you the opportunity to thank the most pro-life president in American history. I bring greetings from President Donald Trump. Even before our inauguration, 4 years ago, President Trump wrote to the Speaker of the House of Representatives in words that I believe are well to reflect on today. He said, "I believe it is the most basic duty of government to guard the innocent." With that in mind, he made it clear. And he said, "I will veto any legislation that weakens current pro-life federal policies or encourages the destruction of innocent human life at any stage." And President Donald Trump has kept his word every single day. But I wanted to thank all of you on the President's behalf and on my own behalf for all that each one of you have done in the cause of life over the last 4 years. You'll hear from this podium today the milestones that we've marked together. It's all been because of all of you and because of the literally tens of millions of Americans who have labored in the cause for life since that dark day in 1973. But there are specific heroes in the room that I want to acknowledge who are with us today. I mean, to be able to serve in the role of Vice President, you also get to be President of the Senate. You get an up-close look at members of the United States Senate. You see their values. When the cameras are off, you see their principles. And there are probably no two more stalwart conservatives in the United States Senate, no two greater champions for the right to life than Senator James Lankford and Senator Steve Daines. Would you join me in thanking the both of them for their great leadership for life? Gentlemen. And there's a woman in the room who I got to know when she was a staff director for the Pro-Life Caucus in Congress. She has emerged as maybe one of the most effective pro-life leaders in the United States of America. Join me in thanking Marjorie Dannenfelser. And he did some time in the House of Representatives and in the United States Senate, and now he's emerged as one of the leading voices for life and liberty around the country, and he's never changed. Senator Jim DeMint, thank you so much for your strong stand for this movement all these many years. And let me also acknowledge someone who worked back in the Reagan administration. Was Brooke, you'll be glad to know, was a chief domestic policy advisor. He would go on in organizations like the Family Research Council, Focus on the Family, now president of American Values, and a stalwart and eloquent champion for life, Gary Bauer. We thank you for your leadership and your support. But we're joined today by members of more than 20 pro-life organizations who've supported President Trump and our administration in the cause for life all along the way. And so again, our thanks to the Susan B. Anthony List, to Students for Life, to March for Life Action, to Focus on the Family, to Concerned Women for America, the Family Research Council, and all of you who have organized and mobilized around America for the sanctity of life. Give yourselves a round of applause, would you please? Well, like all of you gathered here today, I've long believed that a society can be judged by how it deals with its most vulnerable, the aged, the infirm, the disabled, and the unborn. President Trump said early in our administration, and I quote, "Every person is worth protecting. Every human life, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of Almighty God." In this administration, it's always been about life. And that's been evident in the last year as our nation has passed through this challenging time of a global pandemic. When the President asked me to lead the White House Coronavirus Task Force, I'll never forget the day. He said, "Mike, I want you to step down. I want you to work with our outstanding health leadership all across this administration and across the country with one mission, and that was to save lives." We launched the greatest national mobilization since World War II. We reinvented testing. Some 200 million tests have been performed across America, some 2 million a day. We saw to the production and the distribution of literally billions of supplies of personal protective equipment, and all along the way, this president and this team were in a relentless drive to save lives. We created medicines in record speed, and as the world learned last week, we have come to the beginning of the end of the coronavirus pandemic, and people are already receiving the first safe and effective coronavirus vaccine all across America. Secretary Azar and I were in Indiana yesterday at a distribution facility and manufacturing plant that will, with the approval of FDA, we hope this week, literally be distributing millions more of a new vaccine that could well be approved for the American people. I mention all of that today because it is just emblematic of an administration that has counted the lives of every one of our citizens precious and important. And that's animated our response to this pandemic, but it's animated the progress that we've made in this administration every step of the way in the cause for life. As Brooke just mentioned, when the president took office, one of the very first things he did was reinstate the Mexico City policy, ending government funding for promoting abortions around the world. And before long, we expanded it to more countries and more policies on the planet. And he gave me the great privilege in our very first month in office to be the first vice president in history to ever address the March for Life on the National Mall. And this last January, he did it himself. President Trump spoke to the March for Life. Before we took office, you all know that the largest abortion provider in America was also the largest recipient of federal funding under Title X. The year before we took office, we actually witnessed, along with the American people, the undercover videos that showed horrific conversations about the sale and transfer of parts of aborted babies. It's just unconscionable. But thanks to President Trump's leadership in March of 2017, I had the honor of casting the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate to allow every state in America to defund Planned Parenthood, and President Trump signed it into law. And putting that priority on the unborn just last summer, with the strong support of leaders in this room and the full support of our Secretary of Health and Human Services, President Trump ended fetal tissue research at the National Institutes for Health. We will always stand for the right to life and the dignity of the unborn. So we've made great progress all along the way, but perhaps it's altogether fitting with these two great senators in the room and one former senator in the room to talk about the really extraordinary progress that we've made in the courts across this land. As a candidate, President Trump promised the American people, he said, quote, "I will protect life, and the biggest way you can protect it is through the Supreme Court and putting people in the court," he said, and he promised, "I will appoint judges that will be pro-life," and that's just what he's done. As Brooke said, with yesterday's confirmation of the judge that will fill the seat of the newest justice on the Supreme Court, President Trump has appointed more than 220 conservatives to our federal courts at every level, including Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And I promise you, having had the opportunity to meet so many of these, not just the justices, but the judges, every one of these men and women are principled conservatives who will uphold all the God-given liberties enshrined in our founding documents and in our Bill of Rights. It's truly a legacy that will reach generations, and it's a testament to what each one of you have done. Your support for this administration, your counsel along the way as those decisions were made by our president, whether it be in policies, in health, whether it be in decisions that were made about appointments to the court. I hope you all know, believe with all my heart that everyone in this room, right along with our president, has made a difference for life. So today we really gather to reflect on the great progress we've made for life under President Donald Trump and with all of your collective support, but also to thank all of you and to urge you, as we promise, to never stop fighting for the cause for life. I believe what we have demonstrated over these past 4 years is that when men and women who cherish the sanctity of life come together, let their voices be heard, when we rally behind great leaders at every level who will stand without apology for life, we can make extraordinary progress. And I truly do believe if all of us continue to do all that we can in the months and the years ahead, we will see the sanctity of life restored to the center of American law in our time. I truly believe it. So to all the champions for life, thank you for all you've done. On behalf of the President, on behalf of our entire administration, we're grateful to each and every one of you. And it's been our great honor to serve alongside you, and we'll continue to fight alongside with you. For all the time that we have, in all my days that remain on this earth, I will always stand for life, and I'll always stand with each and every one of you. That's my solemn promise. And it's not just about each one of you. I know what all of you know as well, that he who said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, is about life. And we do well in this movement to always remind ourselves that when we make the cause for life our cause, we make his work on this earth our very own. So do not grow weary in doing well, because in the last 4 years we've shown when men and women of faith and conviction come together to stand up for the unborn, to speak out for the voiceless, life can win in America. And with your help and God's help, life will keep on winning in the United States of America. Thank you all very much. God bless you. An honor to be with you today.
Vice President Pence, I know I speak for everyone here. I know I speak for those behind me on the stage. I know I speak for the thousands watching on the live stream that your leadership and your conviction and your heart and your love for our Lord and everything that you have lived your life believing in and standing for has truly changed America. And your servant leadership to this country, to the president, to all of us is really inspiring. So thank you again, and please help me thank our amazing Vice President. At this time, it's my great honor to introduce, and by the way, I will tell you, she was a last-minute addition, and so Kayleigh McEnany joined this administration, seems like years ago, but it was just this year. Wow, what a star, what an amazing defender of freedom and liberty and life and everything that this president and vice president have stood for and led for. So when we called her literally about 30 minutes ago and said, Kayleigh, we would love to have you join this group. You have become such a face for what is righteous and good in this country. And God bless her, without hesitation, she said, I would love to. So with that, please help me welcome our amazing press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for the work you do, because the work that you do enables the work that we do. And to me, when I'm often asked, what is the most important accomplishment of this president, it is hands down what he has done for the judiciary. It is hands down the fact that we have freedom-loving justices and judges across this country for many purposes to protect our liberties, one among them that is central to the element of our founding documents, and that is life. And we can thank President Donald Trump for that. And I can tell you, as a new mom, I have a 1-year-old. She just turned 1 on November 22nd of this year. This issue, which I've been passionate about from a young age, pro-life, has become real to me. And I will never forget the day I found out I was pregnant. I did a C-SPAN interview, and I walked away, and I went home to my apartment. I was working at the Trump campaign at the time, and I found out I was pregnant, and I told my husband over FaceTime, because that's how we've had to do things over the last 4 years. And it was an exciting moment. He was pretty shocked and excited, nevertheless. And I spent my time at the Trump campaign, being pregnant while also traveling the country. And I'll never forget having that first ultrasound, which my husband got to be a part of. We don't always get to go together to things, but he was there for that. And to see that beautiful image of what would soon become baby Blake, as she's become known on social media, a tear rolled down my eye. And I was not expecting that, because that was a real baby just weeks into my pregnancy. And an issue that I had been so passionate about from a young age became materially real in my life. And each ultrasound, as you approached and you got the gender and you learned that this beautiful baby was on her way, to do the 3D ultrasound where you could just see every element. I saw her hand. I'll never forget her hand. Amazing moment in my life. I saw her leg. I saw in 3D. It was just a beautiful experience that we know today that babies are babies at the moment of conception. No excuses. And it is not about a woman's right to choose. It is about a human being's right to live. And I'll tell you, my daughter, she's so beautiful. I'll never forget how accommodating this president has been from the very beginning. Baby Blake, after she was born, went to Iowa with me. This was when I was on the campaign in New Hampshire and South Carolina and North Carolina. She has more immunities than anyone because she's been on so many planes. But when I got this job as press secretary, I knew it would be a tough one because I was a new mom and wanting to not miss a single moment of her life. And I'll never forget, after I got the title of press secretary holding Blake, and I started to cry because I was like, I'm going to miss my little baby, and my tears started to fall on her face, and all of a sudden, she let out, I swear it was her first smile. And it was God's way of saying, you go do what you need to do. And I'll tell you what this president did when he first offered me the job. He said this, is your daughter going to be okay? Because he is a president that supports moms. He's a president that supports life. And there's been no greater partner for him in that endeavor than Vice President Pence, who's been an unmistakable voice for life from the very beginning. So I want to thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you do, because it's your work that enables this to happen. And appreciate it. I mean, just the other day, I went to go find pro-life Bible verses. I Google it. Focus on the Family pops up, has like 23. So you guys make our task very easy. So thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you.
Well, what a gift that is. As we come to close out today, I'll pass it back to the Vice President for his closing thoughts, but I'm reminded of the beginning of this great country when a businessman, a teacher, and a couple of students, also known as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and John Adams, got together and decided to declare what most thought was impossible. And that was a new country and freedom, and a country that is guided by self-governance and by our God. And ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And I'm not sure that that is more true or apt of a description than this group here today. So with that, I thank you all, and I turn it over to our extraordinary Vice President to close us out. Thank you.
What a special afternoon. Let me say thank you to Marjorie and to Tom. Thank you for this generous letter. I'll be walking it over to the Oval Office right after we finish up. I also want to express appreciation for all the incredible speakers that you've heard from here. Tom, I'm probably most moved by your last comment that this is really about a president who built a team of men and women who were committed to see his agenda through. And at the heart of that agenda was the cause of life. And you heard from some of our great leaders here. And join me in thanking the Secretary and Bill and this extraordinary prosecutor who's with us here today. Thank you. Thank you, Claire. Thank you for your great work. And to all of you who've made time for this, thank you for giving us the opportunity simply to pay a debt of gratitude to each and every one of you. But I want to assure you that while we have made great progress in the cause of life, that the fight goes on. And I promise you, on behalf of the President, First Family, on behalf of my family, we are going to stand with you every single day until the sanctity of life is restored to the center of American law. Thank you very much. God bless you. Let's keep working for life. Thank you, Mark.